Why is California aligning itself with China, and how deep is the partnership? To explore it, we spoke with Lily Tang Williams, a congressional candidate in New Hampshire and a survivor of Mao's Cultural Revolution. Lily Tang Williams, thank you so much for joining us. Great to have you on the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
Lily, to begin, California Governor Gavin Newsom's China trip has been making a lot of headlines. Now, what's your understanding of Western leaders' notion of cooperating with China on the climate while at the same time saying that China is committing genocide in the Xinjiang region? How does this work?
Well, I feel kind of, as the only congressional candidate born and raised in China, I feel like our politicians really don't understand China. I mean, do they know China is the largest polluter in the world? And there was a famous documentary, Under the Dome, and the famous documentary was seen by hundreds of millions of people, Chinese all over the world, and they banned that documentary on pollution. And if they don't care about human rights in China, how will they care about pollution and climate change? This is, I think this is a false strategy for our leaders to think we can trust CCP on climate cooperation, but at the same time, use taxpayers' money to give Chinese companies dollars to come to the United States to build factories and batteries and build an EV manufacturing plant. I think that's just like a benefit CCP instead of, benefits America.
And on that note, Newsom was telling an audience there that China has a reliable partner in California, while saying not a reliable partner in terms of the United States. Why would he do that, separate the state of California from the rest? What's in it for California?
Well, that, he has a history going back, have a relationship with China. And California ideology, of course, on climate change, on lots of government policies, are kind of in line with Communist China's. When you talk about big government and talk about climate change ideology, equity, but not really pay attention to regular Americans' needs. Like for example, governor wants to ban gas cars by 2035 in California. How is that going to affect the California business people's lives and regular taxpayers' lives? Affect its economy. So I don't think lots of California people, if they know the truth, will support what he's doing. And China has a controlling 80% of world battery industry. So our green new energy dollars are going to Chinese companies. At the same time that we're not secure our borders, we're not energy independent, I think we should actually decouple from China. If we don't rain on China, and we have a lot more strength to call out their human rights abuses, what they're doing in Xinjiang, what they're doing to Falun Gong practitioners, and frankly, what they're doing to lots of Chinese regular people. And we got to separate Chinese people from the Chinese totalitarian government and call out their human rights abuses. That should be the moral role for the United States to play instead of relying on China for climate change cooperation and give them more our tax dollars. It just, to me, a Democrat Party have really adopted the wrong policy when it comes to China.
And on that note, in your view, how has the Chinese Communist Party pulled in people like Newsom and other politicians?
Through money, through connections, and through infiltration. And of course, Newsom have given lots of money already and to Chinese company BYD in California, even during pandemic. Give $1 billion to the company to buy masks without bidding process, and now allow Chinese company to come to California to bet on infrastructure. And the Chinese companies are in Democrat-controlled state, Michigan, Illinois, to build battery factories, even though those Chinese companies are all CCP companies. People got to understand there's no true private big companies in China. They're all controlled by one-party dictatorship. Some are working on military projects. So this kind of corruption is dangerous to our national security.
And if we look at history, it seems especially the U.S. and the West has a history of using diplomacy to try and change the Chinese Communist Party. Is that the right approach? How should we be approaching the Chinese regime?
Well, United States people for a while have this romance about Middle Kingdom and think that through free trade we will change China. But if you look at today, China is going backwards without fundamentally change the one-party dictatorship political system. China's economical growth cannot be sustained. Look at what they're doing to human rights abuses and to even affect the U.S. companies and businesses in China. And I think Xi Jinping is actually put China's national security, stability, political agendas above China's economy. That's why, 80% of foreign companies and investment have already left China because his crazy zero COVID lockdown policies. So we need to decouple from China and call out their human rights abuses and call out their pollution records instead of relying on them and beg them to corrupt with us. It's just absolutely wrong policy at the federal level and the state level, too.
Well, Lily Tang Williams, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
A major break.